fans making their way more urgently now to their seats inside Levi Stadium, and we are ready for kickoff. Kevin Stott, the match referee, about to control these two teams. 8 of Real Madrid's Champions League winners starting today's match. Ronaldo's in China though, Ramos resting, all the other stellar names are here. Manchester United with only 4 of their Europa League final starters. But teenagers Rashford and Fosu Mensah have big chances to impress in the sunshine here today. Kevin Stott, we mentioned he is MLS's most experienced referee at the age of 50. And it's his whistle on a bright, warm Californian Sunday afternoon that gets us underway in this International Champions Cup fixture. These sides have met competitively on 10 occasions down the years. Real Madrid with the upper hand. They played each other in 2 European Cup and Champions League semi-finals. And they met in the ICC 2 years ago in front of a US record crowd of 109,000 at the Big House in Michigan. Quite so many in attendance here today, but nonetheless, as we watch Eric Bailly trying to twist his way out of, but in fact into trouble. Craig, it's another notch in the build-up to the competitive European season for both these clubs.
Well, absolutely, first game for Real Madrid, and you know, I think a little shocked to see him putting out 8 of the starting lineup from the Champions League final, where they, and for those that watched it in the second half, destroyed an excellent Juventus side. So he wants to kick off where he finished, Zinedine Zidane, and give these players as much game time as he can.
Here's Jesse Lingard finding Andreas Pereira. Big chance for the young Brazilian.
Well, that had to be a foul there. Lingard.
Real Madrid in their familiar all-white. The most successful club in world football. And they'll be contesting the Club World Cup in December, taking their place in that competition as winners of the Champions League, a tournament that they've triumphed in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Fosu Mensah. He partnered in the first half by Phil Jones. We're led to believe that Victor Lindelof and Chris Smalling will appear in the second half for Manchester United. And there'll also be, amongst many other changes, one in goal, Sergio Romero starting for the side from the English Premier League. But we're led to believe that David De Gea, who's been a target of Real Madrid, will play in the second period. Fellaini. There goes Carvajal. And now Luka Modric, who's been honoured this week by having the number 10 shirt bestowed upon him, vacated by James Rodriguez, who's gone on loan to Bayern Munich. Wearing 10 for Real Madrid is a considerable privilege. Nacho, and it did creep out of play. That'll be a Manchester United corner. Zinedine Zidane knows a thing or two about success, being the only Real Madrid manager to win 4 titles in a season. An example of Uber's drive for success. There's Andreas Pereira. It's out by Rafael Varane. Fosu Mensah. Lucas Vázquez turning into Matteo Darmian. And here's Martial. Marcus Rashford. Now with a free kick.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford played, Mourinho played him on the left-hand side, John, in Houston against Manchester City. He got himself an excellent goal, actually, when he switched sides, coming off the right-hand side. Many people wondering how often will Rashford and Lukaku, if at all, play together this season? Will they try and get them to forge a partnership up there, an understanding? Which Lukaku on the bench, along with quite a few big hitters for United today.
Here's Bale. And now Modric. This princely Croatian midfielder. Benzema. Wasn't the most elegant piece of defending, and Phil Jones has taken a blow in the process. Manchester United trying to alert the referee. Jones is back on his feet.
Yeah, I mean, this is really brave here from all three players involved. I mean, Gareth Bale threw himself in there. I mean, we know, and for those that watch a lot of Real Madrid, just how good Bale is in the air. And I thought from Toni Kroos's cross in, I thought Romero dealt with that particularly well.
Rashford taking on Nacho and getting nothing.
There's a save again from Romero. Bale thrown himself in there. He gets clattered as well.
Jose Mourinho here. You're watching the International Champions Cup, presented by Heineken. 19 games in total in the tournament, 12 of them here in the United States. This is match number 5. And given the fact that there hasn't been a standout major international tournament this summer, the quality of the squads on display in the ICC 2017 is, I think, a notch up on some of previous vintage. Players have been able to go away and, by and large, have a rest unless they're involved in the Confederations Cup. A number of Real Madrid juniors missing because they were part of the Spain under-21 side who 3 weeks ago finished runners-up to Germany in their European Championship. Martial. Shooting chance! And it was meaterly struck as well. That Keylor Navas flying to his right.
Yeah, it was a bit of an unusual save. Been a bright start for United, even though it's not the full. Just a little bit, that's why Navas had to pot away.
Andres Pereira with a variation on the corner theme to Tim Fosu Mensah. Comfortable for Carvajal. Carrick. Rashford for Laney. Andres Pereira. Both these sides have been preparing at the excellent facilities at UCLA. There's been a rare old battle between the clubs for the best facilities, the best hotels, the most usable training pitches. Word has it that Manchester United have had the upper hand in that regard. The two clubs were also deep in transfer negotiations until last week for the services of Alvaro Morata, who subsequently, after Manchester United signed Lukaku, has gone to Chelsea. Carvajal. Marcelo. Glanced away by Darmian.
Crowd got on their feet there, John, when Gareth Bale showed a little trick or two. I mean, he's a joy to watch when he's in full stride, isn't he, and fully fit. It's a big season for him after last year's injury-ravaged season.
Benzema. As Gareth Bale lost 4 months to an ankle problem, during which time the coach Zinedine Zidane found another formation, another way for Real Madrid to play effectively, with Isco deployed as the point of a midfield diamond and 2 strikers. Whistle's gone. International Champions Cup coverage continues on ESPN on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, with Tottenham taking on Roma at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Also available streaming live on the ESPN app. Carrick, who's replaced Wayne Rooney as the club captain at Manchester United.
But not guaranteed to play.
No.
At his age.
Similar position to Rooney then last season. Not guaranteed a place by any means.
Talk about Dyer and Matic from Chelsea coming in. See what transpires in the next few weeks.
He also seemed very keen on Ivan Perisic from Inter Milan.
Yeah, that's rumbled on, it seems, all summer.
There were reports this morning in the Spanish press suggesting that the young Real Madrid midfielder Marco Asensio could also be a target for Manchester United, a player who impressed so much on ESPN in the ICC last year and finished the season scoring in the Champions League final.
I don't see Real Madrid letting him go, because he is going to be a big part of what they do next year.
Modric. Lingard. Their respective European trophy successes last season. These two sides meet again in just 16 days' time in the European SuperCup in Skopje, Macedonia. Around the defender. Martial. Carrick. Martial. And Marcelo fending off Fellaini with some style. In the end, Real Madrid have a free kick.
He looked real worried there, didn't he, Marcel, at the back post? It's like he knew there was a guy who was a good, what, 6 inches or so taller than him, but okay, it's a friendly, it's not that important, but still, that just sums the class up with the guy. I mean, the 2 fullbacks last year, John, Marcelo and Carvajal, my God, incredible. You won't see 2 performers how to play as an attacking fullback much better than what we witnessed from them, those 2 last year. Fabulous.
Well, Marcelo needs to perform well in pre-season, because for all his excellence last year, Real Madrid have signed a couple of left-backs this summer. Frenchman Teo has arrived from Atletico Madrid, with very high hopes attached to him.
Well, they better be good, and they won't be getting a game.
Third year in a row that the ICC has staged a game here at Levi's Stadium. Last year Liverpool beat Milan 2-0. 2 years ago Manchester United were involved, beating Barcelona 3-1. Lingard, Rashford. Varane for Real Madrid. Clinched their 33rd La Liga title, courtesy of 6 consecutive wins at the back end of last season. In the competitions, they scored a remarkable 173 goals. Led, of course, by Cristiano Ronaldo, absent today. He got 42 of them.
Considering a pretty average season for him, wasn't it? 42.
Below par, really.
Yeah, a bit under the weather, wasn't he? Yeah. Struggled.
Modric.
Oh, that's a collector's item. Such a good passer of the ball, Luka Modric. I mean, when he left Tottenham, he was a good player, wasn't he? But he's turned into a superb player. Really has. One of the first names in the team sheet for Zidane in there. Isco is playing behind Benzema. You know, Bale on the left, Lucas Vasquez on the right, and a lot of talk at Real Madrid, or around Real Madrid, John, is when everyone's fit, is it going to be Bale or Isco? When the season starts, 2 different players, probably 2 different formations to get them in, but just a little headache after the way Isco played last season.
United ahead of Real Madrid in terms of matches played pre-season, not least because the Premier League starts a week before La Liga. Manchester United's first game 3 weeks today at Old Trafford against West Ham United, which will mean a reunion for Chicharito, Javier Hernandez, who joined the Hammers last week.
Yeah, West Ham seem to have made some better moves at the start of this season than they did last. I think they got left behind last season. Joe Hart's gone there as well. So he needs another one. It needs to get his career going again.
Benzema. Bale. And Benzema aiming to get Tony Kroos forcing the referee's hand. Isco, Benzema, left all alone really. And here's Andreas Pereira. He's let off the hook by the foul by Bale. Of course, the talk of Gareth Bale to Manchester United at some stage.
Yeah, I think he's been quoted as saying he's happy in Madrid. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, he's thinking to himself, you know, I got a good pre-season, which has already started in earnest. First game today for Bale in Madrid. But I get a good pre-season and I'll get an injury-free season and I can be he's had some stick off the fans, there's been ups and downs, but he's came through it. The weather's lovely in Madrid, he's probably got a swimming pool at his villa. What else do you want?
There's no probably about that, Craig.
Oh, it's probably raining in Manchester.
Again, no probably about that either.
So yeah, I think that's one for another time, I think.
Martial. There is a young player who needs a good season to convince Mourinho.
Is it going to be here though? Is it going to be in a red shirt, or are they going to loan him out? I mean, I don't know, he just seems very indecisive to me. I don't see him using that pace often enough. Very hesitant. Maybe it's a lack of confidence. Young lad, still 21, still time.
Most recent reports suggest a loan move to Bundesliga side Wolfsburg is being considered. Here's Isco. And now Marcelo. Bailly, who slid in front of his own goalkeeper Romero. Modric to Kroos. Marcelo finding Bale, who is very much offside.
I'm looking across at the stand, the beautiful big stand across from us. A lot of people walking about. See them up there, John?
Yep.
They're either coming in late or they're heading for the refreshments. But they're not watching the game. Hundreds of them.
Damian. This International Champions Cup match is presented by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. Free kick against Fosu Mensah. Varane. Eric alert to it. It's difficult to make judgments at this stage of pre-season, Craig, but one of the criticisms of Manchester United, despite the trophies they won last year, was the anodyne brand of football that they played. 15 draws in the Premier League. They're only the 8th highest scorers in Premier League competition. Fortunately, they have the second tightest defence, so they sort of got away with it, but they weren't great to watch.
At times. It wasn't quite in the Van Gaal standard of not great to watch, but
No.
you know, some would say it wasn't much better. I thought at times they played some good stuff, but you're right. I don't think that will work for a second season. And I expect them, United, I expect them to be going into the season expected to win the title. I do, because I don't think the Premier League teams are anywhere near as good as they've been in years gone by. When you spend that amount of money, John, and we can talk about probably 3 or 4 teams in the Premier League, then the ambition should be to win it. None of this, oh, if we get in the top 4 nonsense, which gets peddled on a regular basis.
Rashford. Matteo Damian. And that's the Frenchman Varane. Marcelo. Clumsy foul.
Oh, it was clumsy. Bit of a mismatch. I mean, that was Mr. Clumsy on the floor, wasn't it?
It was.
One Fellaini.
Damian. Here, Real Madrid retreat to their base in Los Angeles. They play Manchester City at the Coliseum on Wednesday. And the same day, Manchester United in action at FedEx Field against Barcelona. Rashford. Andres Pereira. He was 21. Brazilian youth international, but born in Belgium, where his father was a professional player for Mechelen. Kroos for Real Madrid. Effectively mugged by Fosu Mensah.
Pitch is a little sticky. They were watering it earlier. Just the ball's not quite rolling away what players would like. It's sticking under the feet a little bit.
It's the first of two big games to be staged at Levi's Stadium this week. Wednesday night, the Gold Cup final. United States qualifying for that with their semi-final victory yesterday. Carrick. And Nacho. Marcelo.
Yeah, there was a lot of US men's national team fans at the bar in our hotel last night, John. We were not there ourselves, we were merely in the background.
It was part of our preparatory routine, wasn't it, for the game, Craig? Sampling the pre-match atmosphere, gauging the feeling. Manchester United played 3-1-3 so far. Victories over MLS teams LA Galaxy and Real Salt Lake. And the 2-0 win in the Manchester Derby over City. Andres Pereira, Fellaini again.
Yeah, Rashford wanted that drilled straight across the 6-yard box. Not Fellaini's strength, getting into wide areas and trying to deliver something of quality at the box. It's just not his game.
Carrick. Martial. And now Modric. Benzema. Lucas Vázquez. Isco. And Marcelo brushed away from the path of the ball by Eric Bailly. I think we're going to have a hydration break at this stage.
What, you and I?
Well, we can if you wish,
sorry.
but they certainly are. Which I suppose gives us the opportunity as well. But it is a warm all day, as you can see.
Yeah, and I really don't think it matters too much sometimes if it's hot or not. You should have a water break anyway.
Your attention, please. Due to the high temperature,
Good defending here from Baye, strong. Just gets his shoulder across.
the referee has indicated that a cooling break will begin. The break will last up to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Upcoming matches on ESPN include from the International Champions Cup, Tottenham against Roma on Tuesday at 8 Eastern. On Wednesday, Barcelona-Manchester United from FedEx Field. Also PSG against Juve, that's on ESPN News. And then Manchester City-Real Madrid is the later game on Wednesday. That is on this network on ESPN. Quite a sight, Levi's Stadium, on a day such as this, only 3 years old. 68,500 capacity. Place that cost over $1 billion to construct. The home of the 49ers, and what's lesser known was that the first ever sporting event was a game of this code of football. An MLS fixture in August 2014 opened up proceedings here between the local team San Jose Earthquakes and the Seattle Sounders. It was also the stage on which Chile thumped Mexico 7-0 in the quarter-final of the Copa America Centenario last season. But enough about the surroundings. What about these players, these teams, these coaches? Have we seen enough to form any sort of conclusions or suggest what they might be learning from this exercise yet?
I mean, for Real Madrid with the think about it, there's 3 weeks, I think you said 3 weeks to they kick their Premier League season off. Who's the partnership at the back going to be? Is it a back four? And if so, I would imagine it's Bailly and Lindelof.
Yes.
But I don't think they've played together yet. I mean, I can't remember all the 4 games. It might have done for a little period of a game. But I would want to start working at partnerships. Now, I know you can't play every game, especially not pre-season, because you've got to be careful of injuries. But, you know, so stuff like that I would be looking at, getting my back line worked on, getting a relationship with Lukaku. He had a very good game in Houston against Man City. So I think from United's perspective, there is much more to learn. Not just today, but over the course of pre-season for Mourinho, more so than Zinedine Zidane, because they're way ahead.
Well, this is the 4th of 8 pre-season fixtures, if you include the European SuperCup for Manchester United. So there are forthcoming opportunities for those partnerships, those combinations to be established. Madrid play their opening game in La Liga 4 weeks today.
4 weeks of pre-season training.
You were never a great fan, were you?
Well, I didn't know anybody that was. It was hard work. You had to run to try and get fit. It's horrible.
What, so a professional athlete was being forced to run and try to get fit? Are you serious, Craig?
Yes, 100%. Try it.
Thanks. Sergio Romero with the ball, the man who played in the Europa League final, in goal for Manchester United. And Mourinho has been hinting that De Gea is not perhaps the shoe-in as the starting goalkeeper in the Premier League that he has been in recent seasons, with Romero having now signed a new 4-year contract. It's time for Own the Save, brought to you by Ally. Goalkeeper David De Gea in his 7th season. Sergio Romero has been a bit part player, but threatens to become centre stage. Here's Benzema. Referee unimpressed.
Well, I'll tell you, David De Gea will be owning the save this season because he will be playing, right? So you can cut out that. Romero might play. Yeah, of course he will. He'll play if De Gea is injured. I'll give you that.
And you think De Gea will stay at Manchester United for now, do you?
I do. I think the Real Madrid move will probably happen, but I don't think what will happen this summer.
Pereira.
Nice.
Marcelo.
Looked at me as if he'd be offside there. Benzema. Flag didn't go up.
Modric, who is a picture of beautiful balance. And now Toni Kroos. Varane. A shake-up on the centre-back front for Real Madrid, with Pepe leaving after 10 seasons. He's gone to Besiktas. Sergio Ramos will be a starter when the season begins in earnest. He's being rested today. The absence of both Ramos and Pepe means a quieter afternoon for the referee. Kevin Stott now awarding a free kick to Real Madrid.
Yeah, that Ramos-Varane partnership, especially in the Champions League final, was excellent. Rafael Varane, he's got to be the quickest centre-back that I've seen for a long, long time, John. He is lightning quick. I haven't seen anybody outrun.
Kroos. Just off the head of Fosu Mensah and then that of Darmian. Luka Modric. Next Saturday, an important MLS game on ESPN as the LA Galaxy welcome the Seattle Sounders to the StubHub Center. Match begins 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN. It'll also be broadcast in Spanish on ESPN2. The Galaxy with just one home victory all season long. Major League Soccer presented by Audi, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Kroos. The adventurous Carvajal. And ultimately, a goal kick. Real Madrid's squad, talking of potential transfers in and out, of course, has shrunk since they arrived in the United States 10 days ago, because they've actually sold 2 players while they've been here. Alvaro Morata to Chelsea, and then this morning, confirmation that Danilo has signed for Manchester City for just over 30 million euros.
30 million euros to City, and they've just brought in a right back for 50 million sterling. $60-odd million. I mean, where are they all going to play? Fabio Contrao's left the club as well now. You mentioned Pepe, Morata to Chelsea, and Zidane has mentioned that in his press conferences, that he has got a fantastic squad, but he's lost 1 or 2 that could be key to the squad and come off the bench. So I think he is keen, and he will be keen to add especially another frontman.
Well, they've raised a profit of 90 million euros on deals in and out so far this summer, so as always there are funds available. And this time the funds are largely self-generated through sales. Martial. Carrick. Bale. Isco.
I swear I want to see him beat direct, Martial.
Sure, that was the option.
You see what he did there, Martial? He cut back inside on his right foot, right, and he allowed the defence to get back in. Instead of getting that breakaway out of his feet 10 yards and running onto it and backing the defender up one-on-one, he didn't do it. And that's what I think he was signed to do.
Gareth Bale. Benzema calling for it.
glances at the assistant referee on the far side for an offside there, but no flag going up. Certainly looked close.
Modric. Benzema completed 50 days ago in Cardiff, South Wales. Victory over Juve. This time the flag is raised.
It's that diagonal from Cruz. Oh, looking for the flag to go up. It wasn't forthcoming. It was good defending, I think, here from Jones.
You're watching and hopefully enjoying the International Champions Cup, presented by Heineken.
Pre-season in California, as a player. Doesn't get any better, does it?
Where did you used to spend the majority of your pre-seasons then?
Aberystwyth, South Wales. Look it up in Google. In a university dorm. That was the time.
Highest annual average rainfall in the British Isles.
Is that right?
Here's Jesse Lingard for Manchester United. And Lingard firing, but firing wide. Scored on this ground 2 years ago against Barcelona.
Yeah, good little run here from Rashford just to take the defender away. He was an option if Lingard had chosen to slip that ball down the right-hand channel. But I think he, if I'm being honest, I think it was the right option because it just opened up in front of him. Really should hit the target.
Zinedine Zidane, who you can spot down there on the touchline, has watched the entirety of this first half, largely with his hands in his pocket, hiding beneath a huge baseball cap. Whilst Mourinho, his opposite number, has sat squarely in his seat throughout. Rashford, who of the younger generation of English strikers is the most glittering potential star at the moment, if you accept that Harry Kane in striker terms is perhaps a generation ahead of him. Isco, Modric, clever, Lucas Vazquez, flag up for offside, and Phil Jones got the better of him anyway.
And it won't be the first time today that a Real Madrid player has looked to me as if he's been at least a yard offside.
Well, many in reserve for Real Madrid. Recently, Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo currently on a promotional tour in China. Our own Marty Smith. Busy chap. Given time off at the moment, in part because he played through the Confed Cup with Portugal. Lucas Vazquez. Carrying Benzema. Isco. Modric. Dug out for Dani Carvajal. Modric again, nutmegging for...
The half-time burger there, I'm afraid. Get some ketchup on it as well when you're there. Modric just skip past it. Fabulous skill.
Gross. Flicked by Fosu Mensah to Marcelo. And touched behind by Tim Fosu Mensah, the young Dutchman. Just coming back to Cristiano Ronaldo. After his visit to China, he's then due in court the last day of July to answer charges in a tax fraud case. He has to appear in person. The question is, will he make a fleeting appearance at Hard Rock Stadium in 6 days' time when we have the Miami Classico in the International Champions Cup? Free kick awarded against Benzema.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official has indicated 3 minutes of added time to the first half.
Don't think anybody heard that, did they?
Fellaini. Anthony Martial. And Martial to Lingard. Jesse Lingard, a scorer at Levi's Stadium for the second time in his brief career. And it's not a bad double. First against Barcelona, and now against the European champions, Real Madrid.
John, how many times in the first half have I said about Martial, I want to see him being direct, I want to see him running at defenders, I want to see him using his pace, I don't want to see him cut back in that right foot and deliver a ball into the box, because this is what we've had fleeting glimpses of in his early career at Manchester United when he arrived from Monaco. And that's what Mourinho wants to see from him, because when he does it, he's a handful. He's got quick feet, he's fast, and he's a clever player. Okay, it wasn't good defending, but he's making people make mistakes. That is what Martial needs to be doing.
Well, Jesse Lingard inscribes his name on the score sheet, but a big assist from Anthony Martial, and Manchester United have their noses in front.
I mean, if it was a proper game, i.e. a big European game, Zidane would have an absolute fit at that defending. But it's not, and let's look at the case for the young Frenchman. That's him in a nutshell.
Carrick. It's going to be a corner.
Do you remember when he first came into Man United, Martial? Got to do it, son. You're on the big stage now.
Kroos with this. Still in play with Benzema. Flag though raised on the far side, so what follows is academic. And Marcelo is denied what would have been his 5th ICC career goal. It's not gone down well with the Real Madrid portion of the crowd.
Yeah, I don't think he's off initially, but from the little flicked header from Gareth Bale, that just triggered it.
Well, that brings us to half-time here at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Entertaining first half, illuminated late on by the shuffle and shimmy of Martial and the close-range finish of Jesse Lingard. Coming up very shortly, we'll be with CR7. We've also noted the likes of Bale and Modric walking along with towels over their shirts, presumably to take no further part in this ICC fixture as Manchester United now re-emerge.
I saw Daley Blind coming on.
Yep. And David De Gea.
David De Gea looked like Chris Smalling as well, amongst others.
And Victor Lindelof.
Anders Herrera.
So Matteo Darmian is coming out for the second half. It looks like he's going to play at right back, having played at left back in the first half.
Yep. Daley Blind to left back.
And Romelu Lukaku is going to play the second half here. And Paul Pogba too.
I think that's what you call sweeping changes.
And if anything, the side that's going to play this second half is more experienced and has greater pedigree and is certainly more expensive to assemble than the team that played the first period.
Oh, 100%. I think Mourinho will be quite pleased with what he witnessed from a, as you mentioned, a less experienced side, a much less experienced side.
Well, the Real Madrid lineup is now a collection of players from their Castilla reserve side, and also from their under-19 team. So it may just be that the balance swings a little further in Manchester United's favour. That's what one might expect, given the relative lack of experience in this virtually entirely new Real Madrid lineup. So we're underway for the second half. And this is Mateo Kovacic, who's playing alongside Casemiro in central midfield. Very fortunate that they have loyal former players who guide their junior and reserve side. Santi Solari, well known to viewers on ESPN through his broadcasting displays at the last World Cup, is in charge of the Castilla, the reserve side, who play in the third division of Spanish league football. And Guti, former Real Madrid captain, runs the under-19 team. And we had similar situations last year, albeit not so many of them appearing at one time on the same pitch during the ICC, but those that did come on gave a good, decent account of themselves by and large.
Well, probably the reason they're at Real Madrid. I mean, I wouldn't imagine Real Madrid are taking on many youngsters, if any, that haven't got potential to be a top player. We saw it in Michigan last year up at the college stadium there. It was, I think it was almost, by the end of the game, it was almost like a full second string side, full of youngsters.
And a Herrera. And now Fellaini. Mkhitaryan. Scorer in the Europa League final for Manchester United as they saw off Ajax 2-0 in Stockholm 60 days ago. 10 days later, it was Real Madrid who raised a European trophy in Cardiff. This is Ashraf Hakimi, who's coming at right back, wearing number 34, clearing the ball now. Martial, Lukaku. Rodriguez. And now Hakimi. The 19 side at Real Madrid won every trophy available to them last season. Kovacic, Croatian midfielder. And speculative rather than spectacular effort from a fair old distance from Oscar Rodriguez. David De Gea, who has been linked so strongly and so continually with Real Madrid. 2 years ago it seemed he was going to go, and the paperwork didn't go through on transfer deadline day. Subsequently signed a new contract at Manchester United. The stories won't go away, and Herrera is down injured. The referee delaying the restart because of that.
He took a sore one there, Herrera, just cut back inside and was clattered. Good season for United last year, pretty consistent, in fact very consistent. Anders Herrera.
He's okay. good consistent season finally led him to full international recognition at the age of 27. His first 2 caps for Spain. Mind you, in the early part of his career, he has faced formidable opposition for a place in a Spanish midfield.
It's not the easiest nut to crack, is it? He's struggling. Actually, he's just struggling beneath his hair. Quite recovered from that.
There is going to be a change. Already activity down on the Manchester United bench. Why would you take a chance with a player who's sustained a knock in pre-season? They've already lost Juan Mata to an ankle problem on this tour.
Well, it was Oscar Rodriguez that clattered him, the number 32, and I don't think there was any intent. He was a little bit overzealous in the challenge, and as you can see, there's no point. You know, we're pre-season. You get off, you get iced, you get looked at.
Well, Mourinho is having a fairly gentle conversation with Kevin Stott. Most experienced match official in MLS. He's been a man in the middle ever since the league started in 1996.
I just felt Rodriguez was coming at such pace, John, as soon as he turned back in, he couldn't really get out the road. Now, of course it was a free kick, but I don't think there was any intent to injure Herrera there.
So as Herrera goes away wincing, Scott McTominay, 20-year-old midfielder born in England. If he plays international football, it's likely to be for Scotland through his ancestry. He's on. He started the last Premier League game of the season against Crystal Palace at a time when Manchester United's entire concentration was on the Europa League final. They fielded the youngest Premier League team in their history, average age of just 22 and a half that day.
Scotland's need is greater.
Watching the International Champions Cup presented by Heineken, 5th edition of this rapidly growing competition, bringing together many of the world's best players in their pre-season preparations for the forthcoming European campaigns, which in some cases are less than 3 weeks away.
Substitution for Manchester United in the 52nd minute. Entering the game is number 39, Scott McTominay. Leaving the game is number 21, Ander Herrera.
Daley Blind. Now Pogba. Still the world's most expensive player, but the more stories you hear about Neymar, the more you wonder how long he'll retain that tag.
Well, he didn't look like a player that was leaving Neymar, did he? Was it yesterday the game?
Yeah,
it was yesterday.
He scored twice.
Yeah, he looked pretty happy to me. You know, but these players use every tool they can to try and get the best.
Well, we had this last summer, didn't we, with him, and his father's his agent, and it seemed at one stage he might even be going to Manchester City, and then he announced he was going to stay with Barcelona.
I don't think he'll be leaving. Might be wrong, don't think so.
Just the €222 million release clause in his contract. It's looking for Lukaku, gathered by Kiko Casilla, who is the second-choice goalkeeper who's come on in place of Keylor Navas for Real Madrid. Oscar. Hakimi. Dani Gomez. Casemiro. Kovacic. Centre-back Manu Hernando, who's the captain of that successful under-19 side.
Talented player, Kovacic, the Croatian in midfield. He's still relatively young player. Featured more under Benitez than he has under Zidane's tenure.
Cross. Too much depth in the end.
I mean, there was something I mentioned the other night, John, in Houston when the Manchester derby was on. They've got a really good depth to the squad at the moment, Manchester United. You look at the players that have come on off the bench, Pogba's, Mkhitaryan, Herrera, the centre-backs, the full-backs can change. They've got Shaw injured, they've got Young injured, Rojo injured. You know, if they could just get one or two extra bits of quality in, they've got to... When you're talking a 20, 22-man squad, you're talking every player would be considered more, you know, a first-team player.
Lukaku.
Forgot Juan Mata. Probably somebody else, I don't know. But so it's big, that's my point. Can it be great? We'll have to see.
Well, they did finish 24 points behind Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it's a big gap to make
No,
up.
but I do think they're going to be better this year, 100%.
Martial on the chase. Hakimi the defender. Franchu. Manu Hernando. Oscar. Kovacic. Quezada. Ball was kept alive, and then Casemiro flaps his lines.
Scored a couple of belters last year, didn't he? So one in the Champions League final, took a big deflection, and one in the earlier stages of the Champions League. Can't remember the team, but it was an absolute belter he scored at the Bernabeu. Not noted for that, John, eh?
No.
I'll tell you what he's noted for. Getting away with murder on the field and not getting sent off. Because there was 2 or 3 games I watched him in the Champions League. I think Bayern Munich was one of them at home. How he stayed on the field was beyond me. But he did.
Really been involved in the game yet, but we should point out that one of the half-time arrivals for Real Madrid is their new left-back, Theo Hernandez, who's arrived for 30 million euros from Atletico Madrid. Hakimi, Casemiro. Oscar. Just eluded Dani Gomez. McTominay with the foul and a free kick for Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think they're looking for an earlier foul than Fellaini, who tumbled over like a large oak tree. I don't think it was. If I'm being honest, I think he just wanted too much time. No Ronaldo here to hit the wall, because that's his speciality these days, isn't it?
Well, he'd hit this wall because it's only about 5 yards back at the moment.
That's never 10 yards, that's never his distance back.
Which made it particularly tricky for the taker.
Oh.
But you're right, it was, what, at best 8 yards. Anyway, on we go. Mkhitaryan. McTominay. Darmian to Fellaini.
Do we need a VAR system for that now as well? Measuring the distance to get back. Can they do that without making a mess? No?
We're getting a very public display of VAR, video assistant refereeing in action from August the 5th when it goes live in MLS games.
Yeah, no pressure, over to you, Howard Webb. Howard, of course, is over here now, overseeing it.
International Champions Cup coverage continues on Tuesday on ESPN at 8 Eastern, with Spurs taking on Roma at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. That game also available streaming live on the ESPN app.
Hope Howard's watching this. Former Premier League referee was putting us under pressure already. It didn't work too well in the Confed Cup, did it?
No, wasn't wildly impressed by that. I did go to a presentation that Howard gave in London about 3 weeks ago on VAR, how it works, how it's going to be implemented. And it is very much a work in progress. Where they're at now is not by any means where they want to be.
We'll see.
Daley Blind gave that half a chance.
Corner kick, but that's when you talk about crossing the ball in. Don't have to always beat a man. Just get it a yard out your feet and whip it into that area between defence and goalkeeper, and it gave Lukaku something to go and attack. Fabulous ball.
Mkhitaryan with the corner. And Fellaini meeting it. Not entirely cleanly. Competitive meetings between these teams, and only 2 Manchester United wins. One of them famously a semi-final of the old European Cup, the forerunner of the Champions League, back in 1968. Manchester United, the team of Best Law and Charlton, went on to win the competition that year. Kovacic is the one in difficulty.
Fair to say Real Madrid probably favourites again for the Champions League. Maybe could do a treble. You know, Barcelona have changed coaches. You know, how's that going to work? We talked about Neymar. I think he will stay, but you know, 1 or 2 rumblings there, and not too much has changed at Real Madrid.
Bayern a factor again this year or not? Juve?
Well, they're always going to be a factor, but until they can step up to the standard that this Real Madrid team have set, particularly in the last 2 seasons, then it's going to be difficult.
This International Champions Cup match presented by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. McTominay of Manchester United. We hear giant aircraft crossing overhead the stadium. We're no more than 2 or 3 runways length away from San Jose Airport. Manchester United still leading, as they have since first half stoppage time, through Jesse Lingard's goal. Another free kick awarded by Kevin Stott. Saying Victor Lindelof involved in the second half here alongside Chris Smalling. General feeling seems to be that when battle begins in earnest, it'll be Lindelof and Eric Bailly who are paired.
Well, bearing in mind how much public Mourinho was critical of both Smalling and Jones last year. Very open about it. Almost questioning their integrity and their desire to play. Both were carrying different kind of injuries. And that's a dangerous game to play.
Yes. And there was the case of Luke Shaw, of course, as well, of whom Mourinho was even more critical, and then it transpired that he had a very genuine and quite serious foot injury, which is still keeping him out now.
Yeah, you know, you can't make assumptions. I don't think like that.
For those of us that have watched Mourinho for many years, it was a curious experience last season, really. It's the man that, when he first walked through the doors at Stamford Bridge, was such a breath of fresh air, so charismatic, so charming. He was often quite sullen. No particular energy coming from him. People speculated that perhaps it was in part because he's separated from his family, who are still living in London. He's living in a hotel suite in Manchester. That perhaps didn't help, but he certainly didn't seem to be enjoying the job. Maybe the Europa League trophy changed that at the end of the season, but for the most part it was quite a struggle. Here's Martial. Blint. Martial, corner. Blint will take this. McTominay. Fellaini. Flag raised, far side by Sarah Cortez.
Oncoming pressure. I don't think. Have you mentioned Mkhitaryan's name? I mean,
he's another that falls into the category of still to be convinced. It seems in his manager's mind.
I know, and it's look, we're pre-season. Will he play in that number 10 role behind Lukaku? That's where he would be best, because that's where he played best for Dortmund, linking up with Aubameyang.
You mention him now because that was his foul.
Yeah, which is something that Mourinho talks about with him. He'd had to work harder off the ball. So I don't know how much he'll play.
Lindelof, the defender. Oh, it's untidy, it's a penalty. He caught Theo. Didn't appear to be anywhere near getting the ball. And Real Madrid have been offered a route back into this game by a clumsy and careless piece of defending.
Well, there was no right back about. Write down the word clumsy, but put it in capital letters, right? And put an exclamation mark after it. Quite a few. I mean, okay, he's 23. He's not a hugely experienced player, but he's an international footballer. And my God, I don't think I've seen one as late as that for a long time, John.
No, that was nowhere near.
No.
So it's this for 1-1. Well, that was emphatic from Casemiro. A penalty that... Youngsters augmented by a couple of more experience.
There you go. Get your head down, make your mind up, put your foot through it, get a little bit of air on it.
Score by number 14, Carlos Casemiro.
Fabulous penalty. Okay, there's no pressure, is there really? But those youngsters for Real Madrid, they loved it. They want to win this, of course they do. They want to show that they're going to be good enough one day to get a regular slot.
There's the man who'll decide. Zinedine Zidane.
I'm not quite sure about the cap coming down over the ears.
McTominay. Quickly out to see it.
Just didn't quite have that explosive burst there. That challenge from Lindelof was one of the worst I've seen, giving a penalty away from an international footballer. That's how late it was. I think I could have got there quicker, and I'm £210 these days. Well, maybe a bit more.
Certainly wasn't a moment that you want when you're trying to convince a manager that an outlay of more than £30 million is justified. That's what they paid to Benfica for Lindelof. Mkhitaryan. Fellaini. Lukaku. Franchu. Highly rated 19-year-old winger. And that's been flagged as a foul by Smalling. It's going to be a free kick.
Wasn't quite sure how much of a challenge. I think he tried to pull out of this, and then he just dangles the right leg out. Fantastic play from the youngster. Shrugged off Daley Blind for starters, and sucked in the centre-back and was quick enough to get there before him.
And down below, as they're assembling the battery of isotonic drinks that are going to be available in the high. Of movement. He went direct. Luis Miguel Quezada, opportunistic.
Well, that's clever.
Hakimi. That's rather let Manchester United off the hook. And there's the potential here, Craig, given the to be rather embarrassed here.
Well, they've made the changes to more like a youth team, kind of, and they've actually improved. And United have brought the big guns on, and they're backpedaling a little bit. But I'd like to see that from the free kick there, because De Gea was on the post. He then moves 2 or 3 yards across, and you're thinking, I wonder if he's going to try and come out and read the cross, and I can catch him at that near post. It's good thinking.
Casemiro. So we have to have a winner today, so if we're all square after 90 minutes, we go straight to penalty kicks. Lindelof. And Antonio Valencia is getting ready to come on for Manchester United at the moment. Blind. Pogba. Another minute and then we'll have that hydration break. Lukaku. Seemed to strike the arm of Martial, but after a pause, free kick is given, and the referee points towards the sidelines. And that means drinks. There'll also be an opportunity for the substitution to be made by Manchester United. Antonio Valencia, the player who is going to come on.
Take Darmian off.
So those are the figures.
Of the 2017 International Champions
Still the threshold met, and so we all pause for around about 3 minutes for drinks.
To all your favorite live events.
Attendance confirmed as just over 65,000 inside Levi's Stadium today.
With tickets from Vivid Seats.
This is the 5th of 12 matches in the ICC across the United States. Forthcoming attractions look like this. Spurs against Roma on Tuesday. That's here on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Barcelona, Manchester United, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2 on Wednesday. That's part of a triple bill because after that we've got PSG against Juve on ESPN News and Manchester City versus Real Madrid live from the LA Coliseum. And then next Saturday, Manchester City versus Spurs, 6 Eastern on ESPN2, by way of an hors d'oeuvre to what's very much the main event in this International Champions Cup. Only the second ever Clásico to be played outside Spain. The ultimate club rivalry, Real Madrid against Barcelona, from Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, here on ESPN next Saturday. One not to miss. Julia Roberts in the house today, capturing for posterity these moments. She appeared at Manchester United's training camp at UCLA earlier in the week, together with two of her children, sporting Manchester United kits and regalia. And they were allowed to join in training with the players, and the coaching staff reported back that her offspring are actually rather good. So who knows in the 2027 International Champions Cup.
Real Madrid kit on.
Stop it, you cynic.
And then down the next team with the Barcelona kit on.
You never fail to disappoint, do you? Right, Valencia's on for Darmian. And we've got, if you take into account the additional time for the hydration break, round about quarter of an hour to play. I should just add that next Saturday, as well as those two high-profile ICC games, we have a very important and attractive MLS fixture on ESPN, as the LA Galaxy welcome the Seattle Sounders to StubHub. The match begins at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN. It's also available broadcast in Spanish on ESPN2. A cornerstone rivalry in MLS, that, and Major League Soccer, presented by Audi, is also streaming live on the ESPN app. Just don't go there.
Don't. You didn't even know it was Julia Roberts.
How dare you?
The producer told you. Pete.
Don't give away our secrets.
You were marshalled that way. And you tried to cover it over with some info from UCLA.
Trade secrets. We're watching the International Champions Cup, presented by Heineken. Here's Teo. Now it's Oscar. Hakimi. Solidly in was Blint. Now it's Fellaini for Manchester United, but not for long. Casemiro. Lukaku. McTominay to Paul Pogba. Henrik Mkhitaryan. It's blocked out by Teo. Lukaku. Much involved, Zidane on the touchline. Complete opposite of Mourinho today. He's Content just to sit with his arms draped across the chair on either side of him on the bench and watch.
I know he's got great players, Zidane, but when the president Perez sacked Benitez halfway through the season, and he brought in Zidane from behind the scenes, a great player, fantastic player in his time, but inexperienced as a coach. But he has done a wonderful job just managing, you know, the egos and getting the team selection correct and managing to keep everybody on their toes. It's been, you know, you cannot criticise him for that. Now, could he go into a club and rebuild it like Ferguson did at Man United? You know, he picked them up by the scruff of the neck and took them to one of the best teams in Europe for many years. That's a different management. More difficult. Ferguson did he was the best.
Also a chance that isn't afforded to too many in the modern age because patience is in such short supply. Martial to Pogba. Pogba, who had Romelu Lukaku as a house guest in Los Angeles just prior to his signing. It's Quezada. Hakimi. In for Dani Gomez.
Yeah, it was good defending this time by Lindelof. It was something he did well against Man City in Houston when Aguero made runs. He made sure he got his body to shoot there.
So we're about 10 minutes away from a penalty shootout as things stand. Blind. Lingard putting Manchester United into a lead very late in the first half. Scrubbed out by Casemiro's penalty after a pretty horrendously mistimed tackle by Victor Lindelof. Well, as misses go, that's pretty bad.
That's gone straight in at the top of the charts. Number one. It's wiped everything else away so far this season, and it's early, but it was a beauty, wasn't it? Because it was a wonderful ball in from McTominay. Absolutely brilliant ball in from the youngster. And I think you probably heard the reaction of the crowd. The frustrations. Because this is what you would call a peach of a ball on a plate. And that, folks, is what you would call a disaster. Am I being harsh? It won't. A Man United player, but he's actually done an okay job as a squad player. I can't see him playing that much, to be honest.
Franchu. Quezada. Ashraf Hakimi. The younger brethren of Real Madrid showing up well here. Oscar. Academic really, but brandished with a flourish by Kevin Stott in the direction of Oscar.
Well, it was Oscar that made that challenge on Herrera not long after half-time. Andres Herrera had to go off after just coming on. Look, he took a blow to the side, hip, or the rib area. Hopefully he's okay.
Caressed out by Martial.
Has been issued to Real
Valencia.
Madrid's number 32,
McTominay.
Rodriguez, in the 85th minute.
Cleared by Tejero. Mkhitaryan. Gave it up to Oscar.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The competition rules for today's match call for penalty kicks to be used to determine a winner if the score today is tied after 90 minutes.
The idea of penalties sounds to have been Hakimi. Well, coming up next, it's baseball tonight from Wrigley Field with Adnan Virk, David Ross and Tim Kirchen, including a conversation with one of the game's brightest stars at the moment, Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals.
Little discussion going on between Daley Blind and Paul Pogba. I presume it's over what Blind feels is a dereliction of defensive duties or a lack of concentration.
Hakimi.
Had done all the hard work there with a little flick inside, and he was spare again for the little pass to the right hand side there. Hakimi just ignored him. He saw a little bit of glory for himself. Who can blame these youngsters?
Franchu. Hakimi. Slightly wayward long-distance shooting. There's not time for a great deal more before we head to the spot to decide this. Real Madrid fielding a team with more under-19s than reserves in it, and no first-team players. Or no players that would hold down a first-team starting spot. Lukaku. Kovacic. Hakimi. In behind for a goal kick. Fourth official appearing down below us at the moment, Joseph Dickerson, showing 3 additional minutes, which basically just makes up for the hydration break.
There will be 3 minutes of added time to the second half.
Boys in the second half, Lukaku, Pogba, certainly Mkhitaryan's been sloppy in possession. One real piece of quality was that great run from Martial just before half-time.
In 16 days from now, these sides will do it all again in Macedonia for the European SuperCup. Zidane also faces 3 matches in the next 3 weeks against Barcelona. 1 here in the ICC next Saturday in Miami, and then 2 legs of the Spanish SuperCup. Both sides have been to penalties in this competition once before. Real Madrid beaten by Inter. Casemiro. Oscar. Dani Gomez.
It goes on again there. Iron out all the problems pre-season. That's what you do. Clever from Casemiro, quick free kick. Super midfield, isn't it? Casemiro, Kroos, Modric. I mean, really is a wonderful threesome. And Casemiro can pass the ball, not quite in the Modric and Kroos standard, but he does a bit both sides of the game. I mean, he's a right physical player, he's clever.
Pogba. Over goes Hakimi. And the referee draws proceedings to a conclusion, which means we're heading for penalties to decide the winners of this ICC.
You may say he just wants a bit of you, John.
Well, first up for Manchester United. Not what a player lacking confidence requires.
Well, that just about got to our hotel down the back there. And good view from behind.
Shooting from Real Madrid, number 16, Mateo Kovacic.
Well, Real Madrid don't have and he too fails to score. David De Gea.
It did. It has to be an exceptional penalty. Something that we saw from Casemiro during normal play. And a very good save there from Spain's #1.
Next to face Kiko Casilla is Scott McTominay. Three taken. We've yet to see a conversion.
I'm going to have to get my boots on in a minute, get down there and put a penalty in.
Well, you're the man that nearly scored a hat-trick of Premier League penalties, aren't you? I emphasise the nearly.
I did, yes. I may have missed one of the 3.
19-year-old Oscar Robertson.
Well, fabulous from De Gea again, but 4 penalties, 0 on the score. A footballer who is yet to find his feet really at Man United, but we know he's a quality player.
Armenian Mkhitaryan scores at last.
Kicking next for Real Madrid, number 26, Luis Miguel Quesada.
For Real Madrid. Oh, De Gea got a hand to it.
Well, that's what I was saying. When a keeper chooses to go the right way, as good as De Gea is, it has to be on the money, and this absolutely was.
And here's the man whose clumsy defending allowed the game. This has to be one of the worst collections of penalties I've ever seen.
No, that was like... He didn't even kick it properly.
Number 15, Theo Hernandez.
So we've seen 7 penalty attempts and only 2 goals scored. Theo Hernandez, still a teenager, big money signing for Real Madrid. Well, it's bordering on the ridiculous.
Are we watching Real Madrid? It's not exactly pressure, is it? It's not the Champions League final.
No sign of Lukaku taking one.
This guy's a good penalty taker. See how I've just jinxed him now.
Manchester United, which means that Real Madrid have to score this next kick to stay in the contest.
Casemiro coming up as we watch the replay of that, waits for the goalkeeper. Is he going to smash it again, John? I wonder.
Well, it worked last time, but
It certainly did.
it up. The bar in the way. Manchester United victorious after one of the worst penalty shootouts I promise you will ever have to sit through. But they get the points. Play 2-1-2 for them.